What is going on, guys? We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. Happy Thursday night. Happy Thursday night. I love WalterPicks. Thank you, Henry, man. I do too. I appreciate the positivity. First like by Kylo. Appreciate it, Kylo. Kylo, are you out of last place, man? Out of last place? Hope all is well with you as well. Is Dalvin Cook playing? Yeah, Dalvin Cook's playing. Dalvin Cook is playing through his injury. It really doesn't make that much sense. It does not make that much sense why Dalvin Cook is playing through the injury unless you look at it through the lens of the Vikings coaching staff worried about their job security. And so they're going to rush back their star running back too soon. I'm sure Dalvin Cook wants to come back early, but there is definitely a risk of re-injury for Dalvin Cook. But yeah, he's playing through it. He's going to be playing through it. All right, you got to win this week, Kylo. You got to win this week, man. Is Mike Williams a must start if Keenan Allen is out? Yeah. You got to wait and see with the Los Angeles Chargers situation at wide receiver. Keenan Allen on the COVID list, Mike Williams on the COVID list right now, but it was because of close contact, who was, I assume, Keenan Allen. So it sounds like he could come back, but you got to wait and see. Do I drop Antonio Brown? Yeah, for fantasy football purposes, you can probably drop him. He might be back for, I think, what it is, the fantasy football championship. But if you need the spot, you really don't need to keep him. Guys, I'm taking – I looked at the spread tonight. Very excited. I was excited before I saw the spread. I was very excited because we have two very different narratives for these two different teams. We're live on YouTube and TikTok, by the way. Come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my favorite picks against the spread for every single game this week. But I went and I looked at the spread for this game, and I was like, all right, this has got to be a good opportunity to take the Vikings, right? The Vikings coming off an absolutely brutal, abysmal, embarrassing loss to the Detroit Lions. The first win of the Lions season, and potentially the only win of the Lions season. Meanwhile, the Steelers are coming off a massive win, and what I thought was a really big upset win against the Ravens. So I went looking at the spread, excited to take the Vikings, when I thought they could potentially be underdogs based on those last two games, and just not the case. Vegas is too smart. This is why betting spreads is so difficult, guys. That's why betting spreads is so difficult. Vegas has no faith in the Steelers, and I don't either. That's why I'm still taking the Vikings, but I was disappointed to see this game wasn't under a 3-point spread. 3.5-point spread right now for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm still taking the Vikings. Cook or Madison is going to be one of the most popular questions of the night. If you come to the YouTube live, you can see my top 10 running backs at the position, and you will see Dalvin Cook squarely in the top 10. You have to start Dalvin Cook. Guys, you have to start Dalvin Cook. It's not a great situation. It's not. But you can't start Madison, and you have to start Cook. This is the reality that we're in. You have to start Dalvin Cook. You just can't start Alexander Madison. You just can't do it. And is there a scenario where Dalvin Cook plays but doesn't play that much? Sure, there's that scenario. There's also a scenario he plays and he gets re-injured. But it really, you just can't start Alexander Madison, and you have to start Dalvin Cook because based on the large sample size that we have, when Dalvin Cook plays, guys, he gets fed. And Alexander Madison does not. So I know Alexander Madison did well last week. We had Alexander Madison as a top 5 play last week. He was a top 5 play last week. So take that as a W, but don't start him this week. And do not start Alexander Madison. You got to start Dalvin Cook, though. KJ Osborne and Justin Jefferson props. Yeah, I like both of them. I like KJ Osborne tonight. I do. And he's actually the free prop pick of the day. If you come to the YouTube live. Over 47.5 receiving yards. I like that a lot for KJ Osborne. I've seen it as low. I think it's as low as 44.5 on Prize Picks too. I like that. I do. I like KJ Osborne tonight. KJ Osborne played a season-high 91% of the snaps last week for the Vikings. And Adam Thielen played, I think it was like the first quarter of that game before the injury. Adam Thielen's out tonight. So we should expect another 90% plus snap share from KJ Osborne. And the Steelers secondary is not very scary. It's really not. They've been really bad against the run. So that's another reason you kind of have to play Dalvin Cook. But guys, they haven't been very good against the pass either. They've allowed the 10th most fantasy points per game to receivers this season. The 10th most fantasy points per game to receivers this season. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. What about Conklin? Yeah, I think Conklin's a fine tight end. I don't have him in my top 10, though. So if you come to the YouTube Live, I'll pull up my top 10 tight end rankings. The link to the YouTube Live is in the TikTok bio. Hit that like button and subscribe button, by the way, if you're watching live on YouTube. And I don't have Tyler Conklin in my top 10, but I think he's in my top 15. Prediction on Jay Jets. Yeah. Can we talk about Justin Jefferson, please? I'm so excited to just talk about Justin Jefferson because, guys, there's a legitimate argument. We actually were just having this debate in the WalterPicks Slack channel. WalterPicks Discord coming soon, by the way. Let me know in the YouTube comments or TikTok comments if you'd be down for a WalterPicks Discord. But the debate we were having is Justin Jefferson already the number one wide receiver in the NFL? And I think that, no, he's not, but there is a good argument that he is. He's gone over 140 yards in 3 of his last 4 games. Guys, don't bet against Justin Jefferson. If you're going to be risking any money on props tonight, like, have some fun and just ride Justin Jefferson, who's gone over 140 yards in 3 of his last 4 games and is playing a bottom 10 secondary tonight with no Adam Thielen. I mean, he's just such a dominant route runner. He excels at everything you need to excel at as a wide receiver. Talk about the San Francisco running back situation. Yeah, man. The San Francisco running back situation. This is what fantasy football is all about. It really is. Every year this happens in the pivotal moments of the season. And this is, guys, the most pivotal moment of the fantasy football season. If you're still in it, every week from here on out is the most important week of the fantasy football season. Unless, of course, you've already clinched. Some people, maybe this week doesn't matter that much. But in a lot of leagues, this week's going to matter. And you got to go add JaMycal Hasty right now. Like, you really do. There is a non-zero chance JaMycal Hasty is a top 15 running back in fantasy football this week. It looks like Elijah Mitchell's almost for sure not going to play. He's dealing with a concussion. He's also dealing with knee issues. So there's multiple injuries right now for Elijah Mitchell. And Jeff Wilson had his knee flare up last week. So he's practicing. I think he practiced today on a limited basis. Looks like Jeff Wilson is going to play. Like, if I do predict right now, and obviously we're going to have a few more days of news before I have to officially talk about this on the Sunday morning stream. Make sure you tune in to the Sunday morning stream, guys, because we've been absolutely dominating on those streams. We've actually hit, I think, 4 straight free prop picks, by the way, on those streams. Jeff Wilson is right now the front runner to start at running back for the 49ers against the Bengals, and he should be rostered in all leagues too. But last week, his knee flared up, and he barely played. And it feels like that's the type of injury that's very likely to happen again. So Jeff Wilson and or JaMycal Hasty are going to be a part of the fantasy football conversation this week, and they should be. And I'm honestly a little bit more confident in JaMycal Hasty, who doesn't have nagging knee injuries. But if Jeff Wilson's healthy, if Jeff Wilson is healthy and he's able to play the whole game, he's going to play ahead of JaMycal Hasty. That's why this situation is so murky. But yeah, I added JaMycal Hasty in all the leagues I could. I would go add him if you have a spot, especially if you need running back help, which I know a lot of people do. A lot of buys this week in week 14. Madison, Cook, or Hasty. Guys, don't start Madison. Don't start Madison. I understand there's a chance Madison sees more work. Dalvin Cook really, he's just coming back early from an injury. But Dalvin Cook's back. And every time that Dalvin Cook has been playing, Madison has seen fewer than 10 touches. So you can't trust him. You can't trust Alexander Madison, and you have to trust Dalvin Cook. Again, you come to the YouTube Live. Link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 rankings, every single position. And you'll see in there, Dalvin Cook's in the top 10. I'm seeing a lot of Osborne questions in the TikTok Live. I'm seeing a lot of just straight up Osborne question mark questions, Osborne or Jalen Guyton. I like that one. I would go Osborne over Jalen Guyton with what we know about the Chargers receivers right now. My expectation is that Mike Williams plays. And I think Josh Palmer is going to be involved for the Chargers too. So I definitely don't think Guyton's a lock by any means. So yeah, I like Jalen Guyton this week as a super deep sleeper, but I like Osborne a lot more. Guys, Osborne played 91% of the snaps last week, highest snap share of the season. And again, the Steelers are bottom 10 secondary against receivers in fantasy football this year. And the free prop pick tonight is KJ Osborne. It's KJ Osborne tonight, over 47.5 receiving yards. Like, I think he's going over 50 yards tonight, minimum. And that's a pretty good floor for a guy that you're probably starting as your wide receiver 3 or your flex. I think you can start KJ Osborne with some confidence tonight. Over Van Jefferson, that one's close, man. Like, I don't feel as good about Van Jefferson as I feel like most people do, which is weird for me because I usually like the guys like Van Jefferson. I like upside. If you've been following me for long enough, I like to take risks in life. I like to take risks in fantasy football as long as there's upside, right? Like, there's a risk reward thing. And the upside's there for Van Jefferson. Like, it absolutely is. In a big game against the Cardinals, that game's probably going to be high scoring. But I would argue that Osborne has a much safer floor. Let me pull up the numbers for Van Jefferson really quickly. But again, KJ Osborne, 91% snap share. I think the Vikings are going to be able to pass really easily against the Steelers in this game. Osborne's floor is 50 yards tonight. And I don't think that's the floor for Van Jefferson. Odell Beckham Jr. is also competing for some of these deep targets. Van Jefferson had a 77% snap share. He had 8 targets last week. Pretty solid. He's at back-to-back games over 16 points. It's close. It definitely is close. But the matchup is definitely better for KJ Osborne than it is for Van Jefferson. So I would go with KJ Osborne. Hey, Zam, should I do the Osborne-Kirk stack? Yeah, Carson, I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it. Let's talk about Kirk Cousins for a second, who, like, if you didn't know, Kirk Cousins has a long history of thriving on prime time. And he scored at least 15 fantasy points now in 5 straight games. So the floor for Kirk Cousins is pretty good. And again, this is not a very scary secondary for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've allowed the 13th most points to quarterbacks this season. I wouldn't be starting Kirk Cousins over Mahomes, Ryan. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'll pull up my top 10 QBs. And Kirk Cousins is not in my top 10. And guys, you're going to see number 10. If you're on the YouTube Live, again, on the YouTube Live, you can see my top 10 rankings, every single position. Come to the YouTube Live, guys. Link is in the TikTok bio. You just get access to a little bit more info. And you'll see my number 10 QB. And I know a lot of you guys aren't going to like this. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to like my number 10 quarterback this week, but I had to sneak him into the top 10 because Cam Newton's a top 10 quarterback this week, guys. Cam Newton is a top 10 fantasy football quarterback this week. Is he risky? Yeah, of course. He's very risky. He's risky. I'm not gonna pretend like Cam Newton is not a risk. I watched his last game, just like you did. He completed, I think, 5 passes in that game. It was tough against a Dolphins defense that isn't like that great. But he gets the Falcons this week, guys. The Falcons have been so bad against quarterbacks that you have to believe Cam Newton's the top 10 QB. The Falcons have allowed the 2nd most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this entire season. They just let up 370 passing yards and 4 touchdowns to Tom Brady. Tom Brady now has 9 passing touchdowns only against the Falcons this season, by the way. Absolutely ridiculous. Seems like he's enjoying the NFC South. But yeah, you got to be starting Cam Newton. You really do. I mean, even in the game where it was a complete dumpster fire for Cam Newton, he still scored like 6 fantasy points because of his rushing floor. You have to like, I think Cam Newton's a top 10 QB. I'd start Cam Newton over Kirk Cousins and over Big Ben this week. Show your top wide receivers. Yeah, I got you. I just missed that last question though. I'm sorry. I'll get back to that on the YouTube Live. If you are watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. What prop bets are you liking today? Yeah, there's a lot of prop picks I like today. I like KJ Osborne's prop. That's the free prop pick of the night. 47.5 receiving yards. I mean, to me, his floor is 50. And when a guy's floor is near the prop, I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. I like Deontay Johnson tonight too. Guys, Deontay Johnson, I think the question was, are you nervous about Dalvin Cook? Yeah, I am nervous about him. But you still have to start. I'm nervous about him, but you still have to start. That's just the bottom line with Dalvin Cook. You have to start him. You can't start Alexander Madison now with Dalvin Cook starting. You have to start Dalvin Cook. And yeah, you should be a little bit concerned. He's playing through a pretty bad injury. That has a pretty big risk of re-injury. But it's Dalvin Cook. And so he's still a top 5 running back this week. Like, he's playing. Deontay Johnson. He's had double-digit targets in every single game except for 1 this season. He's averaging almost 80 yards a game without Juju. He's averaging like 70 yards a game, even if you include the games with Juju. Like, Deontay Johnson, really, since last season, has been the clear wide receiver 1 for the Steelers for anyone paying attention. It hasn't been Chase Claypool. It wasn't Juju Smith-Schuster when he was healthy. It was Deontay Johnson. The dude is an absolute baller, and Big Ben looks his way very often. So I like his props tonight too. I think they're set like I'm not quite as confident in Deontay's props as I am KJ Osborne's props, but I like both. Does Amir Abdullah have any fantasy value? Yeah. Oh my God, he does. He does have fantasy value. Amir Abdullah has fantasy value. I actually wrote up about Amir Abdullah in our 10 transactions tool in the WalterPicks app. Guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, you got to check it out. I don't know what you're waiting for. I spent over 10,000 hours of my life building this app. It's a really good app for everything fantasy. We use machine learning to give the best projections, but I also personally write up 10 transactions that you should do every single week in the WalterPicks app. And one of them, I think it was last week or might have been this week. You got to go add Amir Abdullah if you're in desperate need in a deep league. This is only for the deep league people. I know some of you, though, you're in 14-person leagues. Like, you need desperate help at the running back position. I'm in this position myself in one league where I am vying to not come in last place. One league where I have Christian McCaffrey. And yeah, I mean, Amir Abdullah, the thing about him is, like, he wasn't very involved last time CMC was hurt. But since CMC has come back, Amir Abdullah has actually played more than Chuba Hubbard. He's played more than Chuba Hubbard in the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 games for the Panthers, Amir Abdullah played more than Chuba Hubbard. And it seems like the consensus across the fantasy industry right now and people that talk about fantasy football is that, like, Chuba Hubbard's just going to step into this every down role like he was in last time. And I don't think that's necessarily the case, because Amir Abdullah has been playing more than him recently. Amir Abdullah had a 54% snap share in their last game, and he's ran more routes than Chuba Hubbard as well. Like, I think that there's actually a better chance that Amir Abdullah touches the ball more than Chuba Hubbard this week. So I would definitely advise you to be cautious with Chuba Hubbard this week. And if you need a super deep play, like, I think Amir Abdullah is a pretty good deep play. And I am starting him in one PPR league because I think he's going to be the primary pass catcher out of the backfield for the Panthers against the Falcons, who have allowed, I think, the top 3 most receiving yards per game to running backs this season. Do I start Madison? Joseph and everyone else in the chat talking about Alexander Madison. No, I don't think you should start Madison. Like, I really don't. I am nervous about Alexander Madison tonight. And could he score a touchdown? Could he still be involved? Should he still be involved? The answer to all those questions is yes. But with Dalvin Cook playing, you just can't start Alexander Madison. The floor for him is so low. If he doesn't score a touchdown, Alexander Madison's scoring under 10 fantasy points for sure. He's probably going to score under 5 if he doesn't score a TD. Like, you just can't start a guy like that. Muth or Hawkinson, who's questionable. Yeah, I like Muth. I like Muth tonight. I do. I have Muth ranked number 9. He's my number 9 tight end. I still have Hawkinson at number 5. So I don't think I'd start him over Hawkinson. You can see my top 10 tight ends if you come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. Is Osborne a good play? Yeah, I do think Osborne's a good play. Chuba Hubbard or Freeman? I'm pretty nervous about Chuba Hubbard this week. I am. It's a good matchup for him, though. Like, he is playing the Falcons. I think Amir Abdullah is going to be more involved than people realize. Amir Abdullah played more than Chuba Hubbard in their last game. Hawk or Schultz? I'd probably go Hawk there. Try to get some Thursday night questions in, too, because we're live basically from the time I wake up to the time kickoff happens Sunday, too. So I'll get all these Sunday questions answered as much as I can on Sunday. Calvin Ridley a drop? Yeah, man. Yeah, he is. He is. It's tough, man. I really hope this is not the end of Calvin Ridley's career. I do. Hey, Sam, who do you think will win tonight? I started this stream off talking about how I was excited. I was actually, like, strongly considering placing an actual wager against the spread tonight, which I rarely do. I'm pretty transparent about this. I share my picks for every game, but I don't really risk much on spreads because it's so hard to beat the spreads. That's why I mostly just stick to player props. I've had over 60% accuracy ROI since the last 3 years of player props. So I feel pretty good about those. And there is the occasional time I'll have a lot of conviction about spreads. And I thought this was going to be one of those games because the Vikings just had an embarrassing, abysmal, just horrible all around loss to the Detroit Lions, but they really just didn't show up for most of the game. And the Steelers just had a huge upset win against the Ravens, who I think the Ravens are still, like, one of the more underrated teams just in general in the league. So I was expecting this spread to be under 3 points for the Vikings. I thought even there was a chance that they would make the Steelers favored, but guys, Vegas has no faith in the Steelers, and rightfully so. I mean, rightfully so. I think the Vikings win this game. I think the Vikings cover the 3.5 spread, but I think the spread is pretty spot on, honestly. Like I'm not super confident about the spread. If it was under 3, I would have felt really good about it. I think the Vikings beat the Steelers tonight. That's my general prediction. Hey Sam, do you think I should start Madison? No, I don't think you should start Madison. Hey Walt, what do you think about Noah Fant? My name's actually Sam. Classic mistake, man. Classic mistake. Walter, or Walt, as you called him, is actually the artificially intelligent algorithm, the machine learning algorithm that powers the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. And I helped build that. I helped build Walter. My name's Sam. A lot of questions I'm seeing about Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. Still, guys, you should start Dalvin Cook and you should bench Alexander Madison. It really is that simple. Don't overthink it. There's definitely a chance of re-injury for Dalvin Cook, but we're not going to pretend like we know who's going to get hurt. You don't know who's going to get hurt. And Dalvin Cook's playing. He is playing. Alexander Madison's also playing. But if Dalvin Cook's playing, then Alexander Madison's floor is literally below 5 fantasy points. So don't start him. But you should be starting Dalvin Cook because if he plays the whole game, he's going to end up being a top 10 running back this week. The Steelers have also been destroyed by running backs in the last month. I think they've been a bottom 5 defense against running backs over the last month. Thursday night, Muth or Waller / Moreau. Yeah, it's unclear if Waller is going to be back this week, and that makes this question much more difficult, but you got to decide tonight, man. And Foster Moreau really didn't come through for us. He was a pretty popular sleeper last week. He did not come through. Pull up his stats from last week because I think like you do have to consider the fact that there's a chance Darren Waller doesn't play again this week. The last report about Darren Waller is that he remains sidelined on Thursday. He's supposedly day-to-day. He has not practiced, though, since Thanksgiving. So it's not looking good for Darren Waller to play this week. And so I think you got to go Muth. I think you kind of have to go Muth. Foster Moreau had 3 targets last week, 1 catch, 34 yards. He almost put up a donut. He really did. Foster Moreau almost put up a donut. He was 1 catch away from a donut. Finished with 4 points. You got to go Muth. You got to go Muth, man. I think that there's a better chance Waller doesn't play than that he plays. The Thursday night question, pick one, KJ Osborne, Julio Jones, Emmanuel Sanders, and Jerry Jeudy. Thank you for bringing up Julio Jones, man. Guys, Julio Jones is back. Julio Jones is back, and everybody knock on wood, man, because I hope he can stick around for more than a week or half a game, maybe. Like, Julio Jones is super risky. I'm pumped that he's back. And, man, do the Titans need him. With A.J. Brown dealing with injuries as well. But it looks like Julio Jones is going to play this week. Something to keep an eye on in your leagues. But honestly, I think KJ Osborne's safer. Thursday Night Football, Conklin or Muth? Yeah, I like Muth more than Conklin. I like Conklin too. I don't have Conklin actually. Actually, I do. He's my number 8 tight end. I lied. I have Conklin one spot ahead of Muth. I thought Conklin was my number 11 tight end. He's actually my number 8 tight end. If you come to the YouTube live, you can see my top 10 rankings, every single position. This one's super close. Muth versus Conklin. So I have Conklin at number 8 in my rankings and Muth at number 9. And with no Adam Thielen, you got to feel a lot better about Tyler Conklin. Let's look at their matchups, though. The Pittsburgh Steelers, let me pull this up. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been better or worse than the Vikings against tight ends. I honestly think that could be a pretty good tiebreaker here. The Steelers have allowed the 9th fewest fantasy points to tight ends this season. Last week, Mark Andrews only had 9 points against him. The last tight end to score over 10 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers was back in week 9. That was Cole Kmet. And before that, it was Darren Waller back in week 2. There's actually only one Cole Kmet's the only tight end that's gone over 12 fantasy points against the Steelers. That's not good for Tyler Conklin. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings defense, who's getting a lot of their weapons back, they also have been pretty good against tight ends. They've allowed the 8th fewest points to tight ends. They have allowed over 10 points to 3 tight ends in the last 2 weeks. I think I like Muth. I think I like Muth's floor a little bit more than Tyler Conklin's. I would argue Conklin has a slightly higher ceiling, though. I generally think Kirk Cousins is going to have a better game than Big Ben as well tonight. Osborne or Ayuk? Yeah, I'd go Ayuk. Andrews or Hawk? Come to the YouTube live. I have my top 10 tight end rankings scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. Link is in the TikTok bio for the YouTube live. And you'll see I have Andrews ranked number 3, Hawk ranked number 5. Over or under? I like the over tonight. I think both defenses are pretty overrated. Can't believe I have to ask this, but is it Zeke or Pollard this week? Yeah, Donnie, man. I can't believe you got to ask that either. Like, honestly, Pollard's dealing with an injury now too, which complicates things even more than they were already complicated. Pollard might not play this week. There's actually a chance that he doesn't play. There is a better chance that Pollard doesn't play than there is that Zeke doesn't play. Zeke practiced in full today, and Tony Pollard, I'm not sure which one it is. The team is hopeful that he can play through his foot injury. He tore something in the bottom of his foot. Not a good sign, honestly. I think that's enough for me to just say Zeke. Like I think without that injury, I would be saying Tony Pollard, but I'm going with Zeke there. Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb? Yeah, let me pull up my top 10 wide receivers. You really can't be benching Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has cooled off just a little bit since his hot start. And we got someone in the TikTok live. I was hoping someone in the YouTube live would bring this up too. He says, you said it would be on Android the next time you went live. I said it might be, to be fair, I think if you went back. But guys, Android it's coming. And I'm not just saying it this time. I actually I'd say I'm 90% confident that the WalterPicks app will be plantar fascia. Not good, Caleb. That's for Tony Pollard we're talking about. But yeah, back to the Android conversation. The WalterPicks app is going to be in the Google Play Store. The beta version of the WalterPicks app is going to be in the Google Play Store before my next live. So before Sunday. It's coming Saturday. The Android version is coming on Saturday. You can't see it on TikTok. Well, it's coming this Saturday to the Play Store near you. It's coming. This is not a drill. The Android version, Android people, you've been very patient. And it's coming. OBJ or Osborne? Yeah, I would go OBJ over Osborne. Do I start Dalvin Cook? Yeah, you start Dalvin Cook. You do. You have to start Dalvin Cook. For everyone, by the way, that already has the WalterPicks app. If you already have the WalterPicks app, right now, you do have a chance to win a free $100 Amazon gift card. We're running a survey right now. We're trying to get some feedback. We got a lot of plans for next season. A lot of plans to improve the app for next season. And we've been pretty straightforward from the start. And something that I believe in very strongly is basically taking all the money that the app has made and investing it straight back into improving the app. So we're really taking anything left over, paying ourselves extremely little. I'm borderline like I can barely afford rent because we're going to be taking everything that the app has made and we're investing it straight back into the app. And we want your feedback to know how to best do that. So if you already have the WalterPicks app, go to the app, tap on the intercom bubble in the bottom right corner. You can have a chance to win $100 free to Amazon. All right. Jefferson prediction. Yeah, I'm pumped for Justin Jefferson tonight. He's gone over 140 yards in 3 of his last 4 games. And honestly, I will not be surprised if he goes over 140 yards tonight. I won't be surprised. So my prediction for him is that he's very close to 100 yards tonight. Hilliard or Foreman? Yeah, I like Deontay Foreman more. Tyler Conklin or Darren Waller? You are so clutch. Yeah, Jaden, it honestly looks like Darren Waller is going to miss this week again. He hasn't practiced yet this week, so I feel like you just got to go with Tyler Conklin. Love the app. Thanks, man. Mooney or Osborne? Yeah, Darnell Mooney versus Osborne's close. Allen Robinson's back. It looks like Allen Robinson's back this week, and so that makes me a little less confident in Darnell Mooney and a little bit more confident in KJ Osborne in this question. I think I would go Osborne. Again, I think I like Osborne's floor a lot tonight. That's why he's the free player prop pick tonight. Over 47.5 receiving yards was the last I saw it at. And I think his floor is 50 yards. Why is Keenan Allen not in your top 10? Because he's on the COVID list. It looks like he's not going to play. It looks like Keenan Allen's not going to play. That's why he's not in the top 10. Because he's projected for 0 points right now in my mind. There's still a chance he plays. And if he plays, he's top 10. Hey, Sam, how's your day? It's been good, man. It's been a good day. Thanks for asking. Amari and Parker for Ayuk and Brandon Cook's thoughts. I got Amari. Yeah, I like the Amari side. Devontae Parker could turn into something, but really, Amari Cooper is the best player in the trade still. Thursday night question: Cousins or Hill? Yeah, Taysom Hill is in. He's a pretty good fantasy football option, giving his rushing floor. And man, we cashed his rushing prop last Thursday night, so hopefully we can cash KJ Osborne's prop tonight. Keep the Thursday night streak going. And we hit on Antonio Gibson's receiving prop too on Sunday. That was over 20. I think it was 21.5 receiving yards. He had like 23. It was close. It happened in like the last draft. But yeah, I think I would go Kirk Cousins over Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill gets the Jets, though, man. He gets the Jets. It's a pretty good matchup for Taysom Hill, who rushed for over 100 yards last game. I would argue Taysom Hill's floor is better, but Kirk Cousins' ceiling is higher, and that's why I would go with Kirk Cousins. And obviously, like, the end of the game was pretty brutal for Taysom Hill, depending on your interception, how interceptions are scored in your league. I have one league where it's -4 per interception, but in a lot of leagues, it's -2. Jeff Williams is a good pickup. I'm assuming you mean Jeff Wilson, and yes, he is a good pickup. He's probably going to start for the 49ers. And I think JaMychal Hasty is also a good pickup because Jeff Wilson's also dealing with injuries. Guys, we are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. Come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 rankings, every single position, and my favorite picks against the spread. One of them is tonight. I like the Vikings -3.5. Do I start Dalvin Cook? Yes, you start Dalvin Cook. No, you don't start Alexander Mattison. That's just the bottom line. You start Dalvin Cook. You can't start Madison. Dalvin Cook's playing. If Dalvin Cook's playing, which he is, you just that just has to be the decision. I'm not going to overthink this one. You got to start Dalvin Cook tonight. You can't start Alexander Mattison tonight. Dalvin Cook is active. He's played with this injury in previous seasons. And in that game, the last time he played in a game with this injury, where he's going to have like the shoulder strap on that he had last time he played with this injury, he touched the ball 30 times. He had 30 touches, guys. That is top 5 running back volume. And it's against the Steelers defense that's been bottom 5 against running backs over the last month. So yes, start Dalvin Cook. No, don't start Alexander Mattison. Please answer my question. Javonte or Dalvin Cook? You have to start Dalvin Cook really in all situations. Don't get me wrong, I like Javonte. We also don't know exactly yet if Melvin Gordon's going to play or not this week. If Melvin Gordon doesn't play, Javonte Williams is a top 3 option probably. Like, I would probably take Javonte over Dalvin if we knew Melvin Gordon wasn't playing. But we don't know Melvin Gordon's not playing. And right now, let me pull up the latest on Melvin Gordon. Right now, my guess is that Melvin Gordon plays. And if he plays, then yeah, you're not starting Javonte Williams over Dalvin Cook. The latest, speaking on Thursday, Melvin Gordon told reporters, I feel like I'll be able to go Sunday. To me, that means over 50% chance he plays. And that makes the decision much easier. Cook or Saquon? Yeah, I'd play Dalvin Cook over Saquon Barkley. I like Saquon, though. Just filled out the survey. Thanks, man. Yeah, again, if you have the WalterPicks app, if you fill out the survey, really appreciate that. Like, we really will look at all of those survey responses, and we will make decisions based on Dalvin Cook or Saquon, and then why Jamar over CD. Yeah, I like Dalvin Cook more than Saquon. I don't dislike Saquon Barkley this week. It's a good matchup for him. He's going to get fed again. I think Saquon Barkley is due for like a massive week. Like I said this last week, and I said this the week before, and I was wrong both those weeks, but I think it's going to come true very soon. Like, Saquon Barkley is going to win someone a massive, massive prize in one of these DraftKings or FanDuel tournaments sometime this season. Like, the upside is still there for him. Jamar Chase over CeeDee Lamb, I think, is close. CeeDee Lamb does have a better matchup than Jamar Chase. But Amari Cooper's also back. I wouldn't knock you for playing CeeDee Lamb over Jamar Chase. I really wouldn't. But I have Jamar Chase ranked ahead of CeeDee Lamb. And really the reason for me doing that, I think that – let me pull this up really quickly. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I agree with this anymore after diving into the numbers a little bit deeper. And if you've been following me long enough, I'm not afraid to change my opinion when I am presented with new information. And yeah, I think I would go CeeDee Lamb, honestly, over Jamar Chase. He's done better over the last month than Jamar Chase, and he has a better matchup this week too. Danny Grease, man, how's it going? I need help. Start 2, Zeke, Montgomery, Barkley. Yeah, this is not easy. Danny, this is not easy. I hope you're doing well too, man. I would probably go with Monty and Saquon, honestly. Like Zeke is very sus right now. His over-under every week is right around 50 rushing yards. And I still think he has really high touchdown upside. But I think the floor for Zeke is pretty low. And Washington's run defense is a lot better than their pass defense. Like, it's really not that close. Chargers.WalterPicks in the TikTok live. What's going on, man? Good to see you. We got a question in the YouTube live. Hey, Sam, should I be benching Madison? Jake, yeah, you should. You should be benching Madison. Zeke is sus. Yeah, he is. He is. I mean, he is. Like, it's the eye test has been telling us for quite some time that Zeke is declining, but now it's the numbers are starting to back it up. The touchdowns are still going to be there for Zeke because the offense is really good. That's why we were drafting Zeke in the first place. But I still think the floor is starting to get lower and lower and lower for Zeke. Though I will say, like, if Tony Pollard doesn't play, I think I would play Zeke over David Montgomery and Saquon. Zeke turned 13 carries and 2 catches, 15 touches, and 47 yards last week. No touchdowns. That was against the Saints. He hasn't had over 100 yards since week 6. Ayuk, Osborne, or Gage? Yeah, I'd go Ayuk, then Osborne, then Gage. I told a lot of people to bench Gage last week. I'm sorry. Is Dalvin limited? I still don't feel very good about Gage, by the way. Is Dalvin Cook playing? Yes. Is Dalvin Cook limited? I mean, sort of. I don't think his touches are going to be limited. He's dealing with an injury, so in that sense, yes, he's not 100% healthy. He's not 100% healthy. He's going to be wearing some type of shoulder strap. Cook's season went from seemingly over. Like, there was a chance that it felt like Cook's season was over. And 11 days later, he's playing. And based on all the reports coming out of Vikings media, that he should be in for a full workload. And do I start Madison and flex to be safe? Gavin, that's an interesting question. Do you just start both to be safe? And I don't hate the strategy. It obviously depends who your other options in your flex slot is. But starting Madison and Cook is not the worst strategy. Personally, I would just start Dalvin Cook and I would bench Alexander Madison because I expect Dalvin Cook to play the whole game and I expect him to see almost all the touches. But to be real, there's definitely a chance of re-injury for Dalvin Cook. There absolutely is that chance. So it is, I guess, it's a safe approach, but it limits your upside, man. And I'm not about limiting your upside. I don't think that's the right move. Over, under 45 points, I think over. Tyler Conklin or Evan Ingram, definitely Conklin. Is Swift playing? I don't think Swift is going to play, but we will have more on that for the Sunday Live. The latest report for DeAndre Swift I don't think it's been very good. Let me pull this up right now. Latest report about DeAndre Swift, he hasn't practiced. DeAndre Swift hasn't practiced. Elijah Mitchell hasn't practiced. Darren Waller hasn't practiced. I don't expect any of these guys to play. Mark Ingram looks like he's going to be out this week, so it should be a big workload for Alvin Kamara in his first game back in a couple weeks. 3 weeks now. Best streamer tight end, Ertz or Conklin? Yeah, I like Conklin more than Ertz. Chill, guys. Chill. Thanks, Michael. Hey, Sam, Thursday Night Football. Cousins or Heineke this week? Yeah, I'd go Cousins over Heineke. Gage or Osborne? I'm going Osborne, man. I'm not a Russell Gage believer. And he definitely proved me wrong last week. If you're going off last week, it's Russell Gage. It's really not that close. He went off last week, man. He went absolutely off. Russell Gage had 130 yards last week. 12 targets, 11 catches, 130 yards. And I still don't really have that much faith. Now he actually has back-to-back games over 18 points. Back-to-back games. He's out 3 straight games, at least 7 targets. And I still think I like KJ Osborne more than Russell Gage. Amari Cooper or Mooney, I'd go Amari Cooper. I have Cobb, Judy, Gage on the bench with Zeke in the flex. What do you think? Yeah, I would keep it as is. I would keep that as is. Why are you big on J-Rob this week? Yeah, thank you. Someone asked. I was waiting for someone to ask about James Robinson. Because in my guys that I refuse to bench this week, James Robinson was in there. And I got a lot of pushback as expected on that in the comments because people are down on James Robinson, rightfully so. I mean, he's been bad the last couple of weeks. He's coming off, I think, he scored 2 points last week. Pretty sure he scored 2 points last week. The reason that I'm starting James Robinson is I expect him to get 20-plus touches this week. I think James Robinson touches the ball 20-plus times this week. And this a little bit has to do with just reports coming out of Jacksonville. Speaking Monday, Jaguars coach Urban Meyer admitted it wasn't wise to take James Robinson out for fumbling the football. And then we have another press conference where Trevor Lawrence admits he actually has gone to Urban Meyer and told him, yeah, we need to give James Robinson the ball way more. He was held out of Thursday's practice, but it was more of a limited practice. They're just managing his workload. But I really think this is a squeaky wheel game for James Robinson. He only touched the ball 9 times last game. I think it's going to be closer to 20 touches this week. And the Titans have a good run defense, but I think he's going to be involved in the passing game too. That's why I'm in on James Robinson this week. I genuinely think he's going to be closer to 20 touches than he is to 10 this week. And so I wouldn't bench a guy like that, as talented as him. Papa Sam, KJ Osborne, or Devontae Freeman? Yeah, I'd go Osborne. I would go Osborne over Freeman, especially if it's a PPR league. Is Chase Claypool or David Montgomery? Yeah, guys, you kind of have to start David Montgomery for the rest of the season at this point. After what David Montgomery did last week, I think he might have been limited or sat out of practice this week. Let me read this latest report. Yeah, he was limited. Yeah, I'm not that worried about it. Honestly, I was nervous about him this past week in a tough matchup against the Cardinals, and boom, 28 fantasy points. 28 fantasy points against the Arizona Cardinals, a top 10 defense against running backs this season. He's got an even easier matchup this week against the Packers. You kind of have to start Madison in kind of all situations. Pretty much all situations, you're starting Madison. That is not Alexander Madison. That's David Montgomery. Don't start Alexander Madison. I'm just seeing Alexander Madison so much in the comments. I got confused. But yeah, you should not be starting Alexander Madison tonight. Do I trade Darren Waller and Amari Cooper for Alvin Kamara? Yeah, Charlie, I like this. I don't hate it at all, man. I don't hate it at all. Thursday night question. Steelers D tonight or Titans D on Sunday? Definitely Titans D. Definitely Titans D. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. Come to the YouTube live. You can see my top 10 rankings, every position, and my favorite picks against the spread. If you are watching live on YouTube, I really appreciate it. If you hit the like button, if you hit the subscribe button, it does help us out a ton. Bench or start Cook? Yeah, you start Cook. Guys, start Dalvin Cook, bench Alexander Madison. Start Dalvin Cook. I feel like I should just put myself on a recorder and just be repeat. Start Dalvin Cook, bench Alexander Madison. Start Dalvin Cook, bench Alexander Madison. Favorite defense this week? Yeah, there's a lot of good defensive options this week. I do like the Titans defense coming off the bye against the Jaguars. The Jaguars just find ways to lose. I like the Titans defense this week, but there's a lot of good options. Let me pull up the defenses for this week. I like the Packers against the Bears. I like the Broncos against the Lions. The Broncos are available in a bunch of leagues still. I like the Chargers. Probably my favorite defense is the Chargers against the Giants, who are right now trending towards starting Mike Lennon again. And we talked about this last week. You start Mike Lennon, it's an auto loss. Like, you're just forfeiting the game before the game even starts. The Chargers are going to destroy the Giants this week. I'm taking the Chargers against the spread too. I think the spread I saw was, what was the spread I saw? I have that up on the YouTube live right now. A -10 in I think they could win by 20 plus, the Chargers against the Lions. Not the Lions, the Giants, sorry. If Keenan Allen plays, should I start him over Lockett versus Houston? Yeah, if Keenan Allen plays, you have to start Keenan Allen. I don't think he's going to play, though. Thoughts on Conner with Edmonds back? Yeah, so James Conner takes a ding. He definitely does. His floor and ceiling are lower now. He still has a good chance at a touchdown. But you look at his splits with and without Chase Edmonds, and he's getting less carries. He's getting a lot less targets. He's averaging under 1 target per game when Chase Edmonds was playing. So in PPR leagues, it's definitely much worse. It's definitely much worse for James Conner this week. He's been one of the best touchdown scorers in the league. But yeah, I'm nervous about James Conner. Is Cook a must start? Yes, he is. He's a must start. How confident are you in Osborne scoring more than 10 points? I'm pretty confident, man. I'm pretty confident. I think he's going over 50 yards. That's why he's the free prop pick of the night. I think he's going over 50 yards, and his props below that pretty much everywhere. He played 91% of the snaps last week. That was his most of the season. And Thielen still played a portion of that game. I think he's going to go over 90% of the snaps tonight. The Steelers secondary allowing the 10th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers this season. Really no reason to be scared about many parts of the Steelers defense. And KJ Osborne had 7 targets last week. And 3 of them came in the red zone too. And we know, like, there's more touchdowns to go around for the Vikings passing attack with no Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's a touchdown machine, man. An absolute touchdown machine. I won't be surprised if Adam Thielen scores a touchdown from the sidelines tonight, guys. I won't. Adam Thielen's stat line tonight: 0 catches, 0 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, that's how good Adam Thielen is at scoring touchdowns. Jefferson over/under 7.5 receptions. If you're gonna give me a Jefferson over/under, I'm probably always gonna take the over. Like, you could have said 8.5. You could have said 9. Like, I'm gonna take the over for Justin Jefferson, who's gone over 140 yards in three of his last 4 games, guys. I got Jameson Elite Crowder. Is he that good of a start this week? I saw your TikTok today. Yeah, I think Jameson Elite Crowder is not a bad start in PPR league, Kylo. Corey Davis is out, and Jameson Crowder is in. And they also have a pretty good matchup this week against the Saints. The Saints have allowed the 4th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers this season. So I don't hate Jameson Crowder, who's gone over 10 points now in 2 of his last 3 games. He played 77% of the snaps last week. I think he's going to play minimum that again this week. So yeah, I don't hate Jameson Elite Crowder this week. Muth or Pitts? The Pitts questions really, like, they hit deep into my soul. They really do. Like, I'll pull up my top 10 rankings. I'll pull up my top 10 rankings on the YouTube Live. Link to the YouTube Live is in the TikTok bio if you're watching live on TikTok. But I have Pitts ranked ahead of Muth. I do. And I don't feel good about it. Kyle Pitts just continues to let us down week after week after week after week as the defenses just cue in on Kyle Pitts. But Kyle Pitts is still in line for more work than Muth. And so when I run my projections, like, Kyle Pitts is going to be ahead of him again. Kyle Pitts played 94% of the snaps last week. He's had another 7 targets. He can't find the end zone. But it's not a very good matchup for Muth tonight or Tyler Conklin. I think they're both in my top 10 because the tight end is just tight end position is a desolate wasteland in fantasy football. And I think both Muth and Conklin have TD upside this week. But both the Vikings and the Steelers have been top 10 against tight ends this season. I locked up a playoff spot. Do I trade OBJ for Damien Harris? Standard league. Yeah, in a standard league, I don't hate that at all, especially if you need a running back. And the Patriots have good matchups. So the Patriots have a bye this week. Then they play the Colts, then the Bills. But after that, they get the Dolphins and the Jaguars. So one of those games is going to be in the fantasy football playoffs. I think it's the Jaguars. You're going to want Damien Harris in that game. Start Cook. Yes, start Cook. Start Cook over everyone, basically. You come to the YouTube Live. Again, link is in the TikTok bio. I have Dalvin Cook ranked number 8. I've ranked number 8. And it sounds like he's getting full reps. It sounds like he's getting full reps. Based on every single report out of the Vikings media, it sounds like he's getting full reps. Is there a chance he doesn't? Of course. Of course there's a chance he doesn't. He came back in 11 days at what many people expected to be a 3-week injury. But he's played through this exact injury before. How you like the over 44.5 in this game? I like it. I think I would go over. I'd be over. I think both offenses can do well against both defenses tonight. Hey, Sam, if Keenan is out, do I start Guyton, Gallup, or Van Jefferson? Yeah, I wouldn't start Guyton over Gallup or Van Jefferson. And Gallup and Van Jefferson, they're not that much different, to be totally honest. I'd probably go Gallup over Van Jefferson, though. And I know Mark Cooper's going to be back. But Gallup and Van Jefferson, I mean, they're really just like these deep threat guys at number 3 options in their passing attack. I would take Gallup over him. Do I start KJ Osborne? Yeah, I like Osborne. I like Claypool more than Osborne. I actually was talking about this, I think, with our 49ers.WalterPicks creator this week. He's in a big matchup. He has to decide between Claypool and Osborne, and it's really close. You look at their prop lines; they're both. I think Osborne's is right around 47.5. He's actually the free prop pick of the night. I think he goes over that. But Claypool's prop lines, I think, around 50.5. So the prop makers have it pretty close. And I also have it pretty close. I think I have them like 2 spots ahead difference in my rankings. I personally like Claypool more. I think Claypool has a higher ceiling than Osborne. But I would argue Osborne has the safer floor. Again, Osborne played 92% of the snaps last week in a game where Adam Thielen played part of the game. I think he's going to play over 90% of the snaps tonight. I think he gets at least 7 targets tonight. I think he has a pretty good chance at a touchdown. But he doesn't have the same deep threat upside as Chase Claypool. So that's why I would go Chase Claypool. Steelers money line, bad bet. It's not a horrible bet. I honestly thought the money line would be worse for the Steelers than it was. So it's not horrible. But I think the Vikings win. So I don't love it. I think the Vikings win. And I think they cover the 3.5 spread. Hey, Sam, Zeke or Monty? Yeah, I'd probably go Monty. If Tony Pollard plays, I would go Monty. If Tony Pollard doesn't play, it's going to be really tough to bench Zeke. Really tough to bench Zeke. Will Debo play this week? Probably not, man. Probably going to be another week with no Debo Samuel, unfortunately. Debo Samuel, he's not generated any hope for us yet. He did not practice today. Taysom Hill or Kirk Cousins? Yeah, we got this question earlier, too. I would lean towards Taysom Hill for the floor. William, I would lean towards Taysom Hill's floor. But if you're going for the upside, I would argue Kirk Cousins is a higher upside. Taysom Hill gets the Jets. They've been bottom 5 against quarterbacks all season. The defense is just a joke for the Jets. Taysom Hill rushed over 100 yards, and boom, that's 10 fantasy points. Easy. This is what we talked about last Thursday night, too, and why I told a lot of people to start Taysom Hill last Thursday, because I thought Taysom Hill was going to go over 50 yards and rush for a touchdown, and boom, there's 10 fantasy points right there. That's his floor. That's Taysom Hill's floor. And honestly, it's probably even higher than that against the Jets, probably closer to 15 points. But I think Kirk Cousins' ceiling tonight is 30+. Primetime Kirk Cousins is not someone to underrate or overlook. So I would probably personally, if I had to make this choice, I would go with Kirk Cousins over Taysom Hill. But I do think it's close. And I do think if you want to play it safe, you go with Taysom Hill. Javonte or CCH, definitely Javonte. Hey, Sam, if Debo can't play, do I start Julio Jones or Hunter Renfrow? I don't think Debo's going to play, and I would probably go Renfrow over Julio in his first game back. I would probably, I feel like you kind of have to. Tyler, man, I can tell you haven't been here from the beginning of the stream. It's got to be Dalvin Cook. You have to start Dalvin Cook over Alexander Madison. You have to start Dalvin Cook over Alexander Madison. And if you're thinking about Madison versus someone like Fournette, I'm seeing in the TikTok live, you start Fournette. You bench Alexander Madison. Don't overthink this one. I'm not overthinking this one. We shouldn't overthink this one. Dalvin Cook's playing. We've seen in the past the Vikings give him a big workload. It seems pretty clear, too. The Vikings coaching staff, Mike Zimmer, these guys are nervous about their jobs because they're only one loss away. If they lose tonight, there could be some firings, on the coaching staff. So I think that's part of the reason they're rushing Dalvin Cook back. I don't cap. Appreciate the live streams, brother. Thanks, man. Saquon or CEH? Both have upside and great matchups. Tricky one. Yeah, Clyde does have sneaky upside this week. He does. I still think I would probably go Saquon. Against the Chargers. It is a really good matchup for Saquon. Saquon also, though, he was limited with some ankle injury. That it was unclear if that was the same ankle injury or a new ankle injury that he was limited with this week. I'm not that concerned about it because it wasn't like he didn't practice. But I think I would go Saquon. I still think I would go Saquon over Clyde. The Chiefs are massive favorites this week. Way bigger than I would have expected. They get the Raiders defense. Let me pull up how they have done against running backs. But I'm taking the Raiders against the spread. It was 9.5 points, I think. Yeah, the Raiders have given up the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs this season. They've just been obliterated on the ground. And the Chargers' run defenses, I think, has been better from a fantasy football perspective, but worse from just a purely rush yards versus expectation perspective. Yeah, they've allowed the 7th most fantasy points, but I think if you just look at their rank versus running backs adjusted for strength of opponent, I actually think the Chargers are worse than the Raiders against the run. They're both bad, though. You're right. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he only played 50% of the snaps last week, man. He had 14 carries, 3 targets, 80 yards, no touchdowns. He's just splitting the work straight up with Darrell Williams, which makes it so much tougher to say Clyde over Saquon. I think I would go Saquon. What's up with Cook? Yeah, so Dalvin Cook's hurt, but he's playing through his injury. There was a real chance that Dalvin Cook's season was done 11 days ago, and now he's playing tonight. That is what is up with Dalvin Cook. We can expect a little bit more Alexander Madison than usual tonight, but it's not enough for me to say you should be starting Alexander Madison. Bro, what you expecting from Jay Jets tonight? I'm expecting nothing but absolute dominance from Justin Jefferson tonight, who's had at least 140 yards, not 100 yards, at least 140 yards in 3 of his last 4 games now. And the Steelers secondary is really just not that scary. Fire up Osborne or hope Julio is good for this weekend. I would go Osborne over Julio. I do think Julio is going to be good for this weekend, but man, is he risky. Vikings minus 3.5 or Steelers plus 3.5. Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings. Minus 3.5. And I let off this live stream talking about why I expected to like this spread more based off their last 2 games. Like I thought the Vikings would be under 3-point favorites in this game. But man, Vegas has just no faith in the Steelers. And I understand why. I gave 5 stars. Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate the 5-star reviews for the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store. Coming to Android in the next couple days. Javonte or Judy? Yeah, it's got to be Javonte Williams over Judy. Hello, Sam. I need help. Hello. Ayuk or Crowder? I'd go Ayuk over Crowder. Assuming Deebo Samuel doesn't play this week, it's got to be Ayuk or the Bazooka over Jameson Elite Crowder. Do I start Chase Claypool? Yeah, you should. I think you should. I love the app. Thanks, man. Yeah, you have a chance to win a $100 free gift card to Amazon. If you have the app, go fill out our survey in the app, in our intercom. Just press the intercom bubble. It's like the bottom right corner of your screen. Fill out the app. Fill out the survey. The survey will take you 10 minutes. If you love the app, really do appreciate it. We will use that. We will use your responses to make actual decisions too for how to improve it next season. Zeke or Javonte is close, man. It is close. I personally would be going with Zeke if Tony Pollard doesn't play and if Melvin Gordon plays. Like there's a lot of situations. Your locks this week. Yeah, I didn't make any of these spreads locks yet because I'm 0 for my last 3 locks. I'm 0 for my last 3 locks against the spread. I'm still 58%. I was just running hot, I think, on the locks. 58% I get on the locks still this season against the spread, which is not bad considering how hard it is against the spread. But I have no locks right now against the spread. But honestly, I think the Ravens will beat the Browns. They're 3-point underdogs this week. I think the Ravens will beat the Browns. The Raiders let me down last week against Washington. I actually think Washington will lose this week too. I was pretty surprised about that spread. Washington's only 4.5-point underdogs against the Cowboys. They're at home, but the Cowboys are way better than Washington. I guess I should probably start staying away from those in-division games. Those NFC East, what is it? I think NFC East games, they're just always brutal. Feel like Dalvin is going to be a healthy scratch. He's not a healthy scratch, Jason. He's playing. He's already confirmed active. And all the reports coming out of Vikings media is that Dalvin Cook is going to see a monster workload tonight, his normal workload. He could see 30 touches. Like it makes sense for Madison to be more involved, but that might not happen. Is Darren Waller playing? No, probably not. Probably not. Osborne or Crowder? That one's really close too, man. It's a good matchup for Crowder. It's a better matchup for Crowder than it is for Osborne. But I still think Osborne's a little bit safer. He's just in a better offense. Just reading a report here that Adrian Peterson was held out of Wednesday's and Thursday's practice. And it's believed that it's not looking like the Seahawks are going to be able to play Adrian Peterson for Sunday. And Alex Collins is apparently feeling significantly better. So maybe Alex Collins is in the fantasy football running back conversation this week. Do I start Alexander Madison? No. Do not start Alexander Madison. Do not start Alexander Madison. Honestly, I think instead of ending the live stream tonight, I'm just going to record myself saying, do not start Alexander Madison, start Dalvin Cook, and I'll just leave that on repeat. Hey, Sam. Hey, Fresh Fishy. What's going on, man? Chase or Zeke if Pollard is out? Probably Chase. I don't want to be benching Jamar Chase. But if Pollard's out, it's so tough to bench Zeke. What do you feel about Hunt? Yeah, I mean, People are really nervous, like a lot of concern about Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb based on their last game. And I understand that, but I think both guys are going to slide back right into kind of what they were at the beginning of the season. Nick Chubb, kind of a back-end running back one, a lower floor and ceiling in PPR leagues, but he still has pretty good upside and probably going to be a top 15 running back every single week. And Kareem Hunt, probably going to be more like a running back too, and he is a little bit better of a ceiling in PPR leagues. He's going to get more of the receiving work. It's going to be like a 60-40 split in terms of the workload. And both guys are going to be able to score a lot of touchdowns because this is an offense built to run the ball. So I think both are fine. Taysom or Lamar? Yeah, start Lamar. Just start Lamar. Lamar had a bad week last week. He still scored like 20 fantasy points. Like that's exactly what you're getting with the greatest rushing quarterback of all time. And honestly, I've been seeing so much stuff, so much Lamar slander, which isn't surprising. People love hating on Lamar. Like he's got to be one of the most hated. Yeah, he had almost 19 fantasy points last week. He was a top 12 quarterback last week. Think back to that game and the outcome of that game, and somehow Lamar was still a top 12 quarterback. Because rushing matters in fantasy a lot. He has at least 50 rushing yards in 6 of his last 7 games. So you got to start Lamar always. And it's just so tough. These quarterback conversations and where Lamar ranks as a quarterback in the NFL is tough because some people just do not care about his rushing ability and other people do. And I think it's a little naive to ignore Lamar's rushing ability in the conversation of his ranking as a quarterback. If we're talking purely passing ability, it changes the conversation, but that's not the only thing quarterbacks do. And he's the greatest rushing quarterback of all time. And he brings a different element to the game than every other quarterback. And I would argue he's pretty obviously in the top 5 quarterback conversation. Foreman or Coleman? Yeah, I would go Foreman. Osborne or Lockett? Yeah, I'd go Lockett over Osborne. Though I do like Osborne tonight. I do like Osborne tonight. KJ Osborne is the free prop pick tonight. KJ Osborne's the free prop pick tonight. I do like him over 47.5 receiving yards. The app ever coming to Android? Max, man. Android is coming this Saturday. This is not a drill. It's the beta version of the WalterPicks app. It's coming this Saturday. Again, this is not a drill. I'm like 90% sure it'll come this Saturday. If not, it's going to come in the next, week. But I'm pretty sure it's coming this Saturday. Like I'm confident enough to just make the statement I made. Yeah, let's go, man. I'm pumped too, Max. I'm pumped too. I can't wait for the Android audience, man. You guys have been so patient. Elijah ain't playing. Is that true? So which Elijah? Elijah Mitchell or Elijah Moore? I'm pretty sure Elijah Mitchell's not playing, but I'm pretty sure Elijah Moore is playing. I'll be wrong about that, though. Good shit, Sam. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate the positivity. Oh, man. You were talking about Elijah Moore. Both Elijahs. Elijah Moore did not practice this Thursday. Elijah Mitchell did not practice this Thursday. Robert Salas said he's hopeful that Moore can play on Sunday, but back-to-back did not practices, man. That's not a good sign. Is Henderson playing? It looks like Darrell Henderson's going to play. And, man, is that going to be a murky situation. And I have one league where I am on the brink of the playoffs, and I have Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel. So I'm going to be right there with all you Darrell Henderson people this week, Sunday morning. And I think that game's actually Monday, right? So that's going to come down to Monday night. Hopefully you have both. He practiced on a limited basis Thursday, but there's a really good chance Sony Michel gets way more work now. He played well last week. And so I'm not even sure at this current moment who I'm starting, Darrell Henderson or Sony Michel. Like I could end up starting Sony Michel even if Darrell Henderson plays. That is one decision that is probably going to make or break whether I make the playoffs in one league. And I'm absolutely going to overthink that one. Sam Loki hates me. I've asked my question 200 times. I low-key do not hate you. I do not hate you. I really I can't think of a single person that I really hate, honestly. All right, Sam, please. I got you, man. See, Fraggy, in the future, man, Just condense the comment down because this is a long comment, man. There's a long question. Darnell Mooney, KJ Osborne, Russell Gage, pick 2 full PPR. Also play Arizona or Seattle defense. Yeah, I'd probably go with Seattle defense. I'd probably go with the Seattle defense. They're up against Houston, and Cardinals are up against the Rams. So I would go with Seattle defense. And then as for the other parts of the question, Darnell Mooney, KJ Osborne, Russell Gage, pick 2. I want to say KJ Osborne and Russell Gage. With Allen Robinson returning, I don't think that's a bad move. I would probably go Osborne and Gage. Cousins or Burrow? I think I have Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins ranked right next to each other. And if you come to the YouTube live, link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 rankings every position. And you'll see I don't have Kirk Cousins or Joe Burrow in my top 10. I actually have Cam Newton ranked ahead of both of them. And I know people are going to like this. But Cam Newton's a better play than Kirk Cousins, and he's a better play than Joe Burrow this week in fantasy football. He gets the Falcons. This is more about the matchup than it is about Cam Newton. And yes, I watched his last game, and yes, it was painful to watch. He completed 5 passes. He almost had as many interceptions as completions. And he still finished with like 7 points because he runs a lot. And that matters in fantasy. But what else matters is your matchup as a quarterback. And Cam Newton's got a great one. I know that wasn't the question, though. I would probably play Kirk over Joe Burrow. I think I'd play Kirk over Joe Burrow. Jackson or Brady? That's a good one, man. I have Lamar Jackson as my number 3 QB. Tom Brady is actually coming in as my number 8. The Bills have a good defense. I know they're without Tre'Davious White. We haven't really seen what that secondary is going to look like without Tre'Davious White because, I mean, obviously last week doesn't count as a matchup for the secondary. We're not counting that game. Like, remove that game from all analysis. This is actually one of the reasons I get asked all the time. Like, so the WalterPicks app, if you haven't checked it out yet, it's in the iOS App Store. I spent the last 2 years building it. And it uses machine learning to really offer the best projections that exist out there. And I get asked all the time, like, how did you build something that's more accurate than ESPN, more accurate than Yahoo, that's really just been really accurate? And really, like, the most important thing is the data that you feed your algorithm. And one of the things we do is just straight up delete games that should be deleted. And like the Bills Pats game is a perfect example. Like, that game should be removed from all future analysis, right? Like, it's just such a unique circumstance that it just doesn't make sense. Another example would be the Kendall Hinton game, right? When Kendall Hinton started at quarterback, who was literally a wide receiver. Like, that game should be removed from all analysis. It's not helpful in predicting future games because none of the future games are going to be like that. So that's like, I don't know how we landed on this topic of conversation, but yeah, I think someone asked about Brady versus the Bills this week. It'll be really interesting to see how that Bills secondary does against Tom Brady. I have him ranked number 8 this week because I'm a little concerned that the Bills secondary will still be good, even without Tre'Davious White. They've been a top 5 secondary this season. Love the app, man. Edmonds. Hey, Sam, what are your thoughts on Edmonds' rest of season now that he's healthy? Yeah, Chase Edmonds, man. He's back. I liked him a lot before his injury. He's going to likely resume that pass catching role for the Cardinals, but he's not going to have as much touchdown upside as James Conner. And for that reason, like, he really lacks upside. He didn't score more than 18 points once this season in his healthy games, but he went over 10 points, I think, in over 70% of his games. There's only 2 healthy games he didn't get at least 10 points. So I think he's like a pretty safe running back 3 floor, but he really doesn't offer upside unless James Conner were to get hurt. Pray for Cook. Madison or Cook. I'm still, guys, this is crazy. I mean, really, since the live stream started till now, which has been over an hour now, we've had a steady stream of Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison questions. You got to start Dalvin Cook. You can't start Alexander Madison. That's the bottom line tonight. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to overthink this one. You have to start Dalvin Cook. He's playing. You can't start Alexander Madison because Dalvin Cook's playing. Would you ever expand the NBA section to include a trade analyzer? Ethan, man, this is actually coming really soon. There's an NBA fantasy trade analyzer coming actually very soon. Probably, I don't want to be overly optimistic here because we're working on getting Android out right now, Ethan, but I'd guess that the NBA trade analyzer is out in the next month. Definitely with over at least half the NBA fantasy season left. So yeah, have thought about that. And I'm excited to bring that to the app. Would you go D-Hop or CH at flex? playoff game, man. People that start the playoffs, the fantasy football playoffs this week in week 14, sus, man. It's sus. You shouldn't be doing it. You're ending the fantasy season too soon if you're doing this, or you're letting too many people into the fantasy football playoffs. Would you go D-Hop or CH at flex? I'd probably go CH for the floor. D-Hop against the Rams. Oh, man. This is not an easy one, Nico. I think I would go Clyde, though. The WalterPicks app might say something different about that, though. I'd go check out what the app says. I would definitely go CD Lamb, though, over DeAndre Hopkins. I need a running back to start, Jamal Williams or Breida. Yeah, don't start Breida. You can't start Breida after last week. You got to go Jamal Williams. And it looks like DeAndre Swift's going to be out again. Judy or Claypool, PPR flex. Yeah, I like both guys this week. I think Claypool has a good chance to catch a couple of deep balls tonight, score a touchdown tonight. I like Judy against the Lions a lot too, though. Both are good matchups. Judy's in a better matchup. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you. Thanks, man. Appreciate you too. Judy versus Claypool is so close. Honestly, I think if you were to look in the WalterPicks app, I feel like they're going to be projected so close together. I would probably go Judy over Claypool. I'd probably go Judy over Claypool, but it is really close, and I would not knock you for going either way. Saquon or Lockett? Oh, God. The Tyler Lockett questions get me, man, because he really is such a boom-bust option. It's a good matchup against Houston for Tyler Lockett. I could easily see him going absolutely off. I put $7.50 on Ray McLeod first TD. I mean, you might as well just go burn $7.50. Like, just go burn it. At least you'll get some value out of the $7.50. I think if I were going first TD tonight, I would probably – I mean, it's so tough to go anyone other than Najee and Dalvin Cook with these two teams. There's probably over, a 60% chance it's one of those two guys. And the odds probably aren't great for either of them. If I wasn't going Dalvin or Najee for the first TD tonight, I'd probably go Justin Jefferson or Deontay Johnson. I know these are pretty mainstream picks, but I mean, what do you think about Osborne? Yeah, I like Osborne a lot tonight. He's probably another guy I would take for first TD. He's probably the best value, honestly. He's the free prop pick tonight, actually. I'd like Osborne over 47.5 receiving yards. I'm on that tonight, pretty heavy. I think his floor is 50 yards. I think his floor is 50 yards tonight. He played 92% of the snaps last week. Adam Thielen played part of that game. And no Adam Thielen tonight. And I said this earlier in the stream. I mean, nobody scores touchdowns like Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is just an absolute touchdown machine. So much so that I won't be surprised if Adam Thielen from the sidelines tonight scores a touchdown. Like Adam Thielen, his stat line tonight, 0 catches, 0 yards, 1 touchdown. That's how good Adam Thielen is at scoring touchdowns, man. Connor or Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones, I hadn't seen an Aaron Jones question until right now. We're about an hour into the stream. And he's going to be a really tough one for people this week too. But I think you kind of have to start him. I would start him over James Conner if Chase Edmonds plays, which we won't know till Monday night, but it looks like he's playing. So I would go Aaron Jones. Do I start Madison or McKissick? Oh, man, that one's close. Madison or Devontae Freeman, that one's close too. Versus McKissick, we don't know for sure McKissick is playing, but it looks like he is. It looks like he's going to play. Yeah, I really think you have to be benching Madison. Like, I don't think there's any way around this. Yeah, McKissick got in limited practice. He's a good sign that he's going to play. Coming off a concussion. Usually guys miss one game with concussions these days. I think I would go McKissick. I think I would go Devontae Freeman over Madison. And again, I'm not going to overthink this one. Like, it makes sense that Madison's more. It does. And it makes sense too. Like, there's going to be a chance that Dalvin Cook gets hurt in this game. Like, he's at risk of re-injury, and he knows that. And the Vikings know that. And they're still playing him, which tells me that they're going to give Dalvin Cook the ball a lot. If they're playing Dalvin Cook, he's gonna get work, man. Sam, Hilliard or Foreman over Kelsey? No. Over Travis Kelsey? Osborne over Van Jefferson? Yeah, that one I would do. It's close, but that's what I would do. Papa Sam, how upset were you at Vikings WalterPicks? LOL. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that. The Vikings WalterPicks creator, Liam, who I'm a big fan of, really close with actually, I had no warning about this video. None. I had no idea it was coming. I genuinely opened TikTok for the first time that day, and it was the first video that I saw. TikTok's crazy, man. TikTok knows the videos you want to see, and the first video I saw when I opened TikTok was that video. It was before the Lions game, where he said he would delete his account, which is not his to delete. He does not own the account. And he said he would delete the account if the Vikings lost. And the whole time I was thinking while he was talking, like, this would be the most Vikings loss. This is a game the Vikings absolutely could lose against the Lions. And what do you know? They end up losing the game. I wasn't like, I was annoyed. I don't think I was mad. I was more annoyed. I was annoyed because there was just a lot of negativity that we had to deal with because he couldn't delete the account. But I think he handled it well. He did handle it well. And he's doing it like a lot of other stuff now. So it's understandable. What's up next in San Fran after Mitchell going down? Yeah, Steven, it's going to be some combination of Jeff Wilson, JaMychal Hasty, and it looks like Deebo Samuel's out too. And like if Deebo Samuel's back, it'd probably be Deebo Samuel. At least a lot of Deebo Samuel. So him being out and Mitchell being out, it looks like JaMychal Hasty is a must-add really in most fantasy leagues just for the time being because Jeff Wilson's knee flared up last week. So that's a little concerning. How are neither Matt Stafford or Taysom Hill in top 10? Who would you choose? Yeah, I didn't have either in the top 10. It's not a good matchup for Matt Stafford. It is a good matchup for Taysom Hill. He's definitely close to the top 10. But you can only put 10 guys in the top 10. That's how they're not in there. I would take all 10 guys in my top 10. I'll show my top 10 QBs on the YouTube Live. Again, link is to the YouTube Live in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 quarterbacks on every top 10 rankings of every position in the YouTube Live. Link is in the TikTok bio. Start Madison over Sony. Help, please, brother. That one is pretty brutal. I would start Madison over Rondale Moore. And yeah, I think I would start Madison over Sony Michel too. That's obviously a tough one. Starting a guy Thursday night over a guy Monday night's tough. That's always going to be tough, especially with Sony Michel. Darrell Henderson's likely back, not 100%. But those are the first two questions tonight that I've said yes to start Madison. Like in general, you should probably be benching Madison, and definitely like you shouldn't be feeling good about Madison. Kadarius Toney or Alexander Madison? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't answer the Stafford versus Taysom one. I think I would probably go Taysom over Stafford. Taysom just has a really like such safe floor against the Jets. He really I think minimum 15 points from Taysom Hill. So I think he's just such a safe option. Kadarius Toney was listed as limited in Thursday's practice. It seems like he is. It seems like he's going to play, but he's pretty questionable. Like it seems like he's going to play, but it's definitely up to be seen, which makes this decision harder. If we knew he was playing, I would go Toney. You like KJ tonight? Yeah, I do. He's actually the free prop pick, man. And we've been cashing the free prop picks recently. Over the last, I think, 6 prop picks, we've hit 5 of them. We hit another one Sunday night. We hit Taysom Hill his on Thursday night in the official prop tonight. Actually, was it CeeDee Lamb or Taysom Hill? I don't know. We hit, but KJ Osborne tonight. He played 92% of the snaps this week. He had 7 targets last week. 3 of them were in the end zone too. I don't hate him to score a touchdown tonight either. Sam, what do you think on Jefferson's projection? Yeah, I think he's going to be near 100 yards tonight. He's had at least 140 yards in 3 of the last 4 games. There's a legitimate argument, but I think it could be argued. I think it could be argued. Times on the stream because I think it's so crazy. But I'll say it one more time. He's had at least 140 yards in 3 of his last 4 games. Like, you got to go. I think the YouTube, hopefully YouTube live. What you think about Muth? I don't hate Muth. YouTube live, I think we're back. Sorry about that. Tannehill or Russ, I really appreciate all your help. Yeah, I'll go Russ. Hey, what's up, Sam? Should I start Conklin tonight or take a chance on Waller? Don't take a chance on Waller. Don't take a chance on Waller. You got to start Conklin tonight. You got to start Muth over Waller tonight too. It looks like Waller's not going to play. Osborne, Claypool, or Guyton for flex. Yeah, definitely not Guyton. Definitely not Guyton over Claypool or Osborne. I like Osborne's floor tonight. I would argue Claypool has a higher ceiling. Osborne's got the better floor, but I think both are pretty good options. Start Cook, yes. Start Dalvin Cook. Bench Alexander Madison. Keenan Allen or Claypool. It looks like Keenan Allen's not going to play. That's not 100% confirmed, but that's what it's looking like. Lamar or Taysom, I would go with Lamar over Taysom 100% of the time. Osborne or Odell. That one's tough, man. It's not a good matchup for Odell, but I think I would still consider Odell there. He's another one I would argue has a higher ceiling than Osborne, but a worse floor. Do I start Madison? No. Is Dalvin Cook going to play? Yes, and that's why you shouldn't start Madison. It's why you should start Dalvin Cook. San Francisco running backs, yeah, it's JaMychal Hasty, it's Jeff Wilson. I actually think Hasty is going to be a must-add in leagues. It doesn't look like Elijah Mitchell's playing. Montgomery or DK at flex? I'd probably go Monty. I don't really want to bench David Montgomery. Yo, Madison, Mike Davis, or Lazard. Oh, God, for flex. Guys, Mike Davis had his best game of the season last week in a not a good matchup. I don't want to start Mike Davis. I don't want to start Mike Davis away. The do not draft list this season. Mike Davis was on there. He was on there. The do not draft list. I felt pretty good about that. Yeah, he did. He just had his best game of the season. Not in terms of volume though. He had 8 touches. I would honestly go Madison here. I would play Madison over Lazard and Mike Davis. Conklin or Waller. Again, I don't think Waller's playing. Like it seems pretty unlikely that Waller plays, and so I'm not playing anyone. I'm not benching anyone expecting Darren Waller. Bruh, I keep asking the same question. Bruh, I always see those comments, man, but I don't see your actual question. Who you got? Oh, who you got? Yeah, I got the Vikings tonight. That was an easy one. I got the Vikings tonight. I think the Vikings beat the Steelers. I think that they cover 3.5. I don't love the spread. I would have liked it a lot more under 3 points, but Vegas has no faith in the Steelers, and they really shouldn't. I don't have any faith really in the Steelers either. So I'm going with the Vikings tonight. I think that the Vikings are better. Let me pull my top receiver. Someone asked that on the YouTube Live. Also seeing a question in the YouTube Live. Is Madison still a start? Daniel, no, he's not a start. In most situations, Alexander Madison is not still a start. He's not still a start. He is not still a start. He really just isn't. Like, there's a good chance. The most likely scenario for the game tonight is that Dalvin Cook sees 30 touches, Alexander Madison has 10 or less. That's the most likely scenario. Is there other scenarios where Alexander Madison sees more work or Dalvin Cook re-injures his shoulder? Yeah, there's definitely those situations as well, but it's just not that likely. So I don't think he's a must start tonight. I really don't. It's a good matchup, though, which makes things a little bit better. So for those of you deciding between Alexander Madison and Mike Davis, or Alexander Madison and Allen Lazard, or Alexander Madison and JaMychal Hasty right now, like, yeah, I think you go Alexander Madison in those situations because it is a good matchup. The Steelers have been torched by running backs over the last month, but I don't think he's a must start in most situations. Darren Waller is likely out this week, yes. Ertz or Conklin, LA game could be a high-scoring game. Yeah, this is not a good matchup for Conklin or for Muth. It's not a good matchup for either of these guys. They're both, the Vikings and the Steelers have been top 10 against tight ends this season. Meanwhile, Zach Ertz, he gets a matchup against the Rams. They have been, they've allowed the 14th most points to tight ends, but I would still probably go Conklin. Like, I still think Conklin's going to get more targets than Ertz, and therefore you go Ertz. Because that's what matters the most. Chubb's a must start. Yeah, Nick Chubb is a must start. I don't think Chuba Hubbard's a must start. I feel like Chuba Hubbard is the trap of the week. And we'll talk a lot more about that on Sundays, I'm sure. All right, so finally to wrap up my thoughts. Start Dalvin Cook. Bench Alexander Madison. I'd play Deontay Foreman over Alexander Madison, Daniel. It's a pretty good matchup for Foreman. I think the Vikings beat the Steelers. I think they cover the 3.5-point spread. I think KJ Osborne clears his prop over 47.5 receiving yards. I'm also definitely not going to bet against Justin Jefferson or Deontay Johnson tonight. Deontay Johnson has had at least 10 targets in every single game except for one this season. I think Chase Claypool has upside, but a pretty low floor tonight. And last but not least, guys, one more time, say it from the bottom. Start Dalvin Cook, bench Alexander Mattison. I feel like we'll talk about this one on Sunday morning on the live. Make sure you're tuned into that. Won't be surprised if somehow that one just falls straight on its face. But I think the process is right here, guys. It's right. It's right to start. It's right to start Dalvin Cook, and it's right to bench Madison. Osborne or Guyton. I would go Osborne over Guyton. I don't think I'd go Osborne over Ayuka the Bazooka, though. I don't think I'd go Ayuka the Bazooka. I would not bench Ayuka the Bazooka this week with no Deebo Samuel. What can I expect from Najee tonight? Yeah, we really didn't get to talk about Najee Harris much on the live, but you can expect pretty good things. Like Najee Harris has been pretty inefficient on the ground, but he's seeing such a good workload. I mean, he ranks number 1 in the NFL in weighted opportunities per game. He's number 1 in targets this season. He's number 4 in carries. I mean, he had 21 carries last game, 5 targets. He had so much. He's just in line for so much work every night that you have to feel so good about him scoring a touchdown. And in PPR leagues, non-PPR leagues, everything. He played 96% of the snaps last week. There's just no running backs doing what he's doing in terms of his workload. So I start Najee Harris too, and definitely start Dalvin Cook, and definitely bench Alexander Mattison. We're talking about Najee Harris, who's my number 2 ranked running back this week. That's my time, guys. Good luck tonight. Have a fantastic night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Seriously, I appreciate the time. I say this at least once a stream. Time is the most valuable thing we have. So I appreciate you spending some time with me. Enjoy your time tonight. I'll be back live Sunday morning. And by that time, guys, Android should be here, man. Android should be here. So Android people, we're coming soon. Have a good one. And thank you for tuning in.